channel. And we've got Cooper DeJean, a Philadelphia Eagle. And Torrey Taylor, of course, was the first kicker / punter taken off the board. No surprise. He's that good. And Eric All, of course, was also Logan Lee taken in the NFL draft. Was that am I missing anyone?
No, you got them all. Torrey Taylor was taken before, and this has been a topic. I think it was Chris Hassel, who used to work news and sports in Central Iowa before getting hired by ESPN years ago. If I'm not mistaken, he tweeted a couple of days ago how ridiculous it was or impressive it was that Iowa's punter got drafted ahead of Iowa State's first overall pick. So like TJ Tampa, who at one time a lot of people thought was going to be, first or second round draft pick, maybe even a higher pick than Cooper DeJean, Torrey Taylor got drafted higher than TJ Tampa. That is a pretty incredible thing. When you really think about it, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, because it's common approach that NFL teams can get place kickers and punters as free agents, and they're really good. At no time in the history of the league have they been more accurate as place kickers or as good as punters. But to go into the draft up into the 4th round to grab a punter, and a couple of years ago it was Jake Moody, the Michigan field goal kicker, who went roughly that high as well. That's that NFL team valuing that punter or place kicker being that much better, whatever that measurement is, than the 30 other guys that can do the job that they can get off the free agent wire. Yeah. And then I'm also assuming that some Hawkeyes were plucked up in free agency and invited to some camps.
They were. Joe Evans is with the Ravens, I believe. We can run through a couple of the others that are I'm drawing a blank on. You'll have to, if I had names in my mind, I can pull them up. You mentioned Logan Lee. Here's a guy who, shows the value of a good performance, athletic performance that I think a lot of people did not expect out of him. He put on a show. I think it was it at the NBA Combine or the NBA Combine, the NFL Combine, or was it at a pro day? I didn't think he got invited to the Combine, but perhaps he did.
Yes, didn't he post that ridiculous run of numbers that you dug up his NFL Combine athletic, whatever that's called, that athleticism metric that was extremely high, like the top 5 to 10% in the history of the Combine.
Right. Yeah. So, I don't think he gets, I honestly, I don't think he gets drafted without those numbers. Nothing against Logan Lee, but he was very, he was just modest in his performance at Iowa. He was solid. Obviously, an older guy, very experienced, had good size. But man, I didn't. I kind of looked at him like I looked at maybe a Matt Nelson, who ended up switching over to offensive tackle. Now, Matt Nelson was a little taller, has been a pretty good offensive tackle in the league. But so Logan Lee ended up going, in the 6th round, second pick in the 6th round to Pittsburgh. Probably higher than I would have anticipated. But again, shows you the results of a good combine. Frankly, Eric All being drafted in the 4th round was higher than I anticipated. And Torrey Taylor being drafted in the 4th round was higher than I anticipated. So I think overall, very good performance. I know people, including myself, were a little bit perturbed by the fact that Cooper slipped out of the 1st. I know Phillies, they have to be ecstatic to get him when they did, where they did. They traded up to grab him. And the fact that he was still available, he'll be a great piece for them. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like Joe Evans. Sounds like he's going to be auditioning to be an outside linebacker with Baltimore. Probably not big enough to be a defensive end. Obviously, very productive career at Iowa. But all those guys, happy for him, and solid class. 4 guys drafted, and like I say, you have a punter going in the 4th round. You'll take that any day of the week.
Did you hear anything from Cooper DeJean in particular after his draft selection?
It's funny you asked that. I'm in talks trying to get Cooper back on the show, so that's my goal. I know sounds like he's trying to get settled in Philly. I expect to hear back hopefully today or tomorrow, and we'll try to get him on a show. I know I saw something on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter during the offseason as much as I am during football and basketball, but I saw him holding up his number 2 jersey. I'm assuming that means he's going to be wearing number 2 at Philly, but he actually responded to a tweet and said, the reason I'm holding this up is because I fell out of the first round. This is a second round jersey. So, but I'm assuming he's going to be number 2. Maybe that's his way of saying, hey, I got a little chip on my shoulder heading to Philly. I don't know what Philly, I really don't know roster wise what they have at corner. I don't know what they do on what they look like on special teams with punt returns, but he's electric enough. Assuming he's healthy, I would think he's got an opportunity like Charlie Jones did with the Bengals to come in there, return punts right away, and offer something on the defensive side of things, whether that be at corner or maybe a safety position.
Yeah, like you, I don't know their roster needs, or if it was just a situation where they were looking at Cooper DeJean at 40, thinking he was 17 or 18 on our board. We just can't pass him up. He's too good, and this is not a position of need, but we're going to grab him anyway. And that's more so the approach of NFL teams today than it was years and years ago. It used to be a needs draft approach for the most part. Really, the Dallas Cowboys were the first ones to say, we're drafting the best player off the board, and made that kind of the new wave.
A couple things real quick. I pulled up these other ones. So Noah Shannon, who obviously missed last year due to that investigation, the gambling scandal, which is now turning into another investigation against the people that brought that investigation down. And was it legal or not, etc. Noah Shannon has got a chance with the Raiders, so he was signed on in free agency. And then Steven Stilianos, backup tight end, has signed with the Titans. So now, which I think is great too. I mean, why wouldn't you, if you're a team in the league, be like, hey, well, let's take a shot on this backup or this third string Iowa tight end. Like, we're not using a draft pick on him, but maybe we'll strike gold. I mean, George Kittle was what, a fourth or I think he's a 5th round draft pick. I mean, you never know with this stuff. And Stilianos did, I think, let's see, he got here. He had 2 years here. So he was at Lafayette prior, was pretty productive as a big body. I think he dealt with some injuries one of the last 2 years he was at Iowa, but yeah, we'll see. I'm rooting for all of them.